in which the land of Hyrule has been blessed by the RNG curse. This is The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past Daily Race. I am Duodeka, and today I'm joined by Mien DM. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
I am doing just great. So we have an all dungeons Keysanity race, and on the left we have NY Rambler, and on the right we have Edium, two of our wonderful volunteers here at Speed Gaming.
I think they are both going to put on a great show for us today. There's been an awful lot of All Dungeons Keysanity this week with League, of course, and we're going to have another a little show off of the mode tonight. It rewards knowing a lot of your sequence breaks. It's going to force you to do a lot of double dips. It's probably going to take a couple hours. So hopefully we're going to have a nice long show for everybody tonight. Thank you all for coming in and joining us.
Yeah, hopefully y'all can grab a nice drink, some food, maybe a nice water or beer or wine or whatever you prefer, as these runners should be getting started any moment now.
Looks like we'll get underway here in the next handful of seconds. What do you think we're going to see early, Duo?
Hard to know for sure. I mean, hopefully we'll see early Dark World access, but knowing knowing my luck and knowing the person that rolled the seed, that's probably not gonna happen.
So, just to break that out from what you're saying and what you mean, you're thinking Agapet, aren't you?
I mean, this is already all dungeons required, but I mean, sure, let's go, and we're off. Okay, so we have a lamp in Sanctuary and then a small shield in Link's house. Two items already right off the bat. Who
Nice
rolled?
to see both of the starting locations right off the hop.
Who rolled the seed? The person that rolled the seed is our lovely tracker, Professor Renderer.
It's like a tier 1 tree pull we're seeing there from Edium, while NY Rambler is setting up the Houlihan glitch.
Yep. Yep. Walking out of that cave and jumping into the pool without flippers 3 times messes up your camera, fall down a hole, and you suddenly fall into a room with 225 rupees as we find the mirror here with the uncle.
Always nice to see that early.
And we have our first big... Oh! GT Big Key right off the bat.
Well, if anybody was hoping for the guessing game today, we're going to have to disappoint. Unless you had, what was that, Chuck? 3? Between the two of them.
Something like that.
Single green rupee on Lake Hylia Island. I can't imagine anybody's going to bother going back for that.
I mean, I could see someone going back for that if they're desperate, but these runners probably won't go back for that anytime soon.
No, the people who would go for that are someone like me who forgets to check the island and just mirrors in right on top of it and accidentally picks it up without knowing what it is.
Or those people that want to get a full 216 out of 216 on a seat. We see nothing of use on Lumberjack there, just 10 sticks. So we won't be needing to kill Aga for something on Lumberjack, but we will have to kill him eventually. We learned our green pendant is at Misery Mire.
Half Magic's a nice early find. It's going to make a lot of things easier once you find items that use magic.
Yeah, half magic is always a nice nice early find because it gets it's very useful in those dungeons where you need a lot of magic in order to complete them, like Ice Palace or Turtle Rock.
Those are both nice. If you have one of the invincibility items, it's kind of handy to have in case of Vitreous.
Oh, absolutely. So we're getting our first dive into Eastern Palace on your left side of the screen. And Edium is going to go into Kakariko.
This is kind of an interesting play on Rambler's side. A lot of people like to put off Eastern in general, but with 80 keys, you're going to wind up with so many double dips, most likely anyway.
I mean, and we just find a French vanilla map to Eastern Palace. Find our first Castle Tower small key in Blind's Hut, and our first Palace of Darkness key as well.
Palace of Darkness keys, you're always going to need at least 4 of them if you know all the tricks to get around the place. If you can use 5 or 6 otherwise.
Yeah. So far, Eastern isn't really turning out to be that great of a play, but who knows?
That's the danger of it, but then with the lamp, he does have 2 more checks still in logic. Meanwhile, Edium's got the hammer out of the Kakariko well.
Yep, early hammer, so either just a glove and a moon pearl, or maybe a second, or yeah, glove and a moon pearl away from Dark World access.
Edium, I think, is trying to show us some game knowledge here to pick up his 100th rupee out of one of these bushes.
Yeah, a lot of bushes, and there's the 100th rupee there. So what does Bottle Vendor have for us today? Even more of a scam than anything.
1% return on investment. Do not want.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that either.
Using his last bomb to get into the bombable hut in the southwest corner, and everybody can see him picking up those bombs. It's a nice way to turn one bomb into 4 additional bombs at a time, and they'll respawn every time you walk out and back in.
Yeah, this is a great place to restock your bombs, resources in general, so it's always a nice place early on to, like, get your resources, as we're going to see the chicken hut as well. And we get a cape.
Well, there's another piece of the Aga puzzle. Of course, being keys, we're going to have to find... Did we find one of the small tower keys already? Or was that a GT small?
We did find the Castle Tower key.
It was a Castle Tower small, yeah.
Yeah, we have the Cane of Burna as well. So, we have the lamp, we have the cape, we have a Castle Tower small. When are we going to find a sword?
Well, they still have quite a few checks outstanding. Neither of them have touched South Shore yet.
Yeah, you got you got the dam. That's 2 checks. That's 2 chests over there. You got Mini Moldorm, which is 5. Ice Rod, which is another one. Edium's contemplating it, but he decides, nah, I'm not gonna go for the blue mail.
No, he's gonna turn his foxy nose up at it. And he's going to be the first of the runners to go down and start making these South Shore checks.
Someone in the chat said if Render rolled a seed on Eat More Popcorn, you should see the seeds that I roll for League. Because they are bad.
Nice little block delete there with the mirror on Edium's side so that he can make both of these checks in one screen transition of the dam area.
Yep, getting a single arrow in the dam chest. And what's underneath? Just a piece of heart, so which Edium is going to pick up. I mean,
It's
early
days,
game. Yeah, early game makes sense.
Yeah, you'll spend the extra second and a half for that. Maybe not so much the extra 15 or 20 to get that blue mail, though.
I mean, someone less experienced like myself would have probably gone for that, but who cares? We're getting an Agena check as well. This is one of those like one-off checks that runners typically will put off until later, and when you put it off and then come back, that's when you realize, hey, maybe I should have checked this earlier. But we don't need to check it earlier because it's a big 20.
Yep, what it is at this point is peace of mind. He does not have to worry about it later. Looks like Idiom's going to go ahead and make his way up towards the castle.
Yeah, this makes sense. Yeah, just go ahead and knock out knock out front of escape.
Yeah, you know, you have your hands on the hammer. It's a reusable weapon. It'll kill all of these guards except the ball and chain guard in one shot, provided you land it.
Which, for these runners, isn't going to be too much of a problem.
I like to describe the hitbox for the hammer as a little wonky.
Yeah, it's... Ooh, and there's the Moon Pearl. So we are just a glove away from Dark World access.
It's a nice find. If Rambler does not come to the front of the castle, having already checked Uncle, I believe, then he's going to be waiting on that one for a little while. Idiom's going to come up on the second check here in a handful of seconds.
Rambler also not going to take the blue mail.
He was commenting in the race channel before the race that in 1v1 scenarios, Idiom is 3-0 against him, so he's probably looking to save time wherever he thinks he can. If he's comfortable without that mail upgrade, it makes sense not to spend the time.
I mean, Idiom didn't grab it either, so they're both on level playing fields.
You might think that the thought process is, well, my opponent probably thinks he can get away without that. If I spend the time to get it, I'm just handing him time that I'm going to have to try and find somewhere else.
And we are going to get the check to back of escape. This is in logic. The back three are not, though, because we do not have the the glove.
Let's see what this dark cross check is. It is the glove.
well,
well.
Well, so there's Dark World access, and also we can go ahead and check the back three of escape if we want.
Looks like Idiom intends to give us a couple of checks of chests in the tower. Normally these are just small keys, but in Keysanity they can be anything.
We do see a Cane of Samaria over at the mini Moldorm cave. And there's a sword.
Have to use the hammer with its hitbox on the stabby guards who are trying to chase you down and poke their swords right into you so that you can get your own sword. Makes sense.
Yeah, that 100% makes sense. And we get the Uncle Bombs in the second chest. So that sword only being the only useful thing we find in Castle Tower.
And it looks like he's going to take that glove from Dark Cross and go right back and check the back.
We did also see an ether medallion in Ice Rod Cave as well. That could be one of the medallions we need for entry into Mire or Turtle Rock.
We're a little ways away from checking that yet, but, you know, it's always nice to have them on hand. It's better than finding another 5 rupees.
Yeah. And White Rambler going to get his mirror as Edium finds the Hera Small in the back of Escape.
It's nice to find. It's one of those checks that, you know, takes a bit of time, but you certainly don't want to orphan it and have it weighing on your mind all game long.
Yeah, don't want it weighing on your mind at all, especially like those one-off checks that most runners usually orphan, like Catfish. You don't want to. You want to. How do I put this? You want to like last location them because they're so far out of your way. That's why they are like a one-off check. But then when they actually have the progression, you immediately hit yourself on the head saying, "Why did I not check this?"
Why oh why did I not do this earlier?
Why oh why did I not do this easy Sphere 1 check earlier that I could have gone to at any time?
We know it won't be the case this game, but, you know, Hammer or Boots or something similar in Nagina's cave gets you every time.
I can say that that definitely happened multiple occasions.
Edium's picking up his Ether Medallion out of Ice Rod Cave, and Rambler's going down to Zelda's cell.
What goes into rolling a seed? Yes, they are letting me commentate, and no, I did not roll this. I did not roll the seed for this one. If I rolled the seed for this one, you would know. So we got normal crystals on Skullwoods and Pod. And our green pendant was at Mire, as was mentioned by Sahasrara.
Is everybody ready for a Hype Cave check?
Air quotes.
Or will it be a Tripe Cave check?
No. 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 Nope. That's a big fat 0 out of 10.
Well, what it will do is pay for every single check that you need to make with money this game, pretty much.
Single check, which more often than not is usually a scam, but given that it is 80 Keysanity, Sora is a little more valuable.
There are a few more things in his pool that you might actually want to have.
Yep. And we also learned that Eastern Palace and Tower of Hera are our good crystals.
Of relatively easy dungeons, but of course in Keysanity you do at least need to have the big keys for both of them to get through. Well, not necessarily in Tower of Hera's case, but you need some other gear to make that happen.
Yeah, with glitches like Harapot, the big key is no longer necessarily a requirement. We find a bow on Stumpy.
That's part of the keys to getting through Eastern Palace.
Yep, we have 2 of the 3 keys we need to get to Eastern Palace. Now all we need is that big key.
20 seconds is too long for a blue mail, but Edium figures, 3? Yeah, I'll pick up blue mail for 3.
Yeah, that would make sense. It's like right there, pick up a pot. you can go ahead and get yourself some better defense.
And here's another one of those checks that Hype Cave is going to be paying for today. We'll get the dig game. From 1 to 30 digs, we'll guarantee you your item in rando.
So we're at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
That was an awful lot of digs for 50 rupees. I suppose it paid for itself.
The prizes you got were the things you dug along the way.
Undoubtedly.
Thieves Town is a blue pendant.
Meanwhile, Edium's going to give us a magic bat check. Seems to be a very generous rupee seed at the moment, but not a whole lot else.
Yeah, there's always one thing that seeds generally tend to be generous in, whether it's item rich, health rich, or just money rich. And judging by the fact that this seed is giving us a ton of money, it means Zora is going to be a scam.
You know, kind of like getting the early ice rod tells you that Turtle Rock is most likely to be a pendant. Either that or have no progression for you. What the seed gives you early, it doesn't really want you to use.
Unless it's the Hammer, Moon, Pearl, or Glove.
Yeah, at least that's the way it feels sometimes. It looks like Rambler has a very similar idea of the way he wants to route this seed. Edium seems to be getting there a little ahead of him, however.
Gonna get a Village of Outcast checks. We got 3 checks over here in the overworld. We got Chest Game, C-Shaped House, and the Bombable Hut.
And while you're in the area, we may see the front of Thieves Town being a pendant and not having the big key for it yet anyway. A front 4 check makes a lot of sense. That was a small key for Turtle Rock that Edium just pulled out of the brewery.
Yep, definitely gonna be needing those. You need at least 3 to complete Turtle Rock, assuming you steal the key for the lava chest. Otherwise, you'll need 4 if you get the one with the lava chest.
And of course, a lot of that depends on how generous the seed is with giving you all of the items you need to complete the game before you get in there and start having to check chests.
But in general, we know for a fact that, given that this is speed gaming, that our chat doesn't want that. Yes, I did roll that seed.
Looks like Rambler wants the peace of mind of knowing what the lumberjack item is. Nice to know that it's 10 sticks. Yeah, don't really have to go back for it, but at some point he's going to have to kill Ege anyway. And he is going to give us some divergence here. Rather than continuing to follow in Edium's footsteps, he's taking those gloves and lamp and going up the mountain.
It's nice to see some divergence, because usually there's the mitts, French vanilla mitts, I might add.
No, it's a nice find, and he can bid farewell to Thieves' Town for the moment until he finds a big key, and preferably a small key.
Oh, just you wait, Rhetorical. Pedseed, you're gonna see a Pedseed come from one of my rolls at one point, and you guys are going to love it till the day you die.
I believe that was a small key of some variety in the inside of Spectral Rock there. Whatever it was, Rambler's going to go fetch it.
And we get a small key to Dark Palace on Edium's side. We already have the GT Big Key, and that actually literally happened in a seed that I rolled for myself. Literally was a GT Big Key on ped. It was the stupidest thing ever.
Edium making the choice to be very thorough here and doing bootsless, fluteless purple chest.
I mean, we have the mirror, but that still doesn't make it necessarily faster.
You know, it's nice to be able to go down there with your Dark World access intact if you also have the book, but he doesn't have that yet either.
Yep. Also, I just realized with that cape and that hammer and that moon pearl, Spike Cave is in logic. But again, one of those one-off checks that does take a lot of that does consume a lot of time, and plus, more often than not, runners will just save and quit as soon as they find the chest in there. Okay, this seed is giving us a lot of money, and I'm wildly concerned.
You think Zora has a scam for us today? What do you think it'd be? 3 bombs? 10
Oh,
sticks?
it's gonna be 10 arrows.
Or it could be something nominally useful. It'll get your hopes up. It could be a small key, but it'll be something that you don't really need a whole lot in the way of small keys for, like Vice Palace or Mire.
Yeah, with Ice Palace, Bomb Jump, and Icebreaker, we don't really need small keys or the big key. We already saw the single arrow.
Rambler taking a load off his feet, you know, maybe grabbing a quick drink while he's waiting on the pegs. And
You
now
know,
we'll
I
go see
would
what's
have.
in the basement of Tower of Hera.
You know, I would have called that a coffee break, but I don't drink coffee, so not really a coffee break for me.
And that's the kind of find that feels bad. You spent all that time and you got a compass.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Well, okay, yeah, we did have the hair small, so the check makes sense, but it's not the check I would have gone for personally.
When you've got access to the east side of the mountain there, getting up there with the mirror and then the hammer, in a lot of ways you kind of feel like maybe I can go over there first, have a look, see if I can't find the hook shot or the big key so that I can actually go up Tower of Hera. But there's the key to Tower of Hera in Skull Woods, and Edium found it.
This seed is stupid. And we also found the good boomerang up on the floating island, as so many people call it.
It's more like a peak hidden in the clouds, but floating island works. It seems thematically appropriate for a fantasy game.
I mean, that's just what people call it. I don't make these names up.
Rambler's going to give us a Paradox Cave check, and Edium finds another small key to Ganon's Tower in the middle of Skull Woods. Rambler with the first bottle of the match in the bottom, maybe top part of Paradox Cave? I don't know, it's Paradox.
Yeah, I mean, Paradox Cave is one of those odd anomalies as we find the Quake Medallion, and the big key to Thieves' Town, and another bottle, and the Master Sword, and a big 20. So, Paradox Cave being quite a payout, actually.
It's interesting that Edium went to the Thieves' Town area, did the front of Thieves' Town, but didn't have the big key, and found the big key to Tower of Hera. Meanwhile, Rambler went up the mountain, did Tower of Hera without the big key for that, but found the big key for Thieves' Town while he was up there. This is AD Keys playing out like AD Keys plays out.
No, this is a renderer seed playing out like a renderer seed. This is not a duo seed. I did not roll this seed. Blame our tracker. They are the one that rolled this seed. Also, shoutouts to our tracker, Professor Renderer.
That was our third GT Small in Graveyard Ledge. We're getting all of this GT access so early, you almost have to think that we're going to be go-moding GT.
Yeah, we'll be in GT mode pretty shortly. Who knows?
Edium trying to set up a bomb jump fake flippers here to get over to the east side of the Dark World.
And we find the big key to Mire in Spike Cave. I think I'm having a little bit of trouble with the current jump.
This is not one of the easier tricks. I have always had a great deal of difficulty with it.
Also, hello to our 44 viewers from Speed Gaming 3. Welcome to A Link to the Past Randomizer Daily Race here on Speed Gaming Prime. We have an all dungeons Keysanity seed for you guys today, and we have NY Rambler and Edium on the left and right respectively. And Edium was trying to do a kern jump, but did not succeed.
That is unfortunate, and he's run himself out of bombs, so we'll see what play he decides to make instead. Looks like maybe the mountain?
Yeah, mountain is what mainly makes sense at that point. I mean, we'll see what they... I mean, we'll see PSL4 when he menus, which is not going to happen because quick swap is a thing.
It looks like our runners are going to go ahead and trade places here, with Edium heading up the mountain while Rambler is in the Skullwoods Thieves Town area.
Yeah, they're both essentially just mirroring each other's movements at this point.
The Seed is not really handing them a lot of other options. You know, they've had, a couple of major differences, and that's all the Seed has allowed them.
Yeah, there isn't really anything otherwise considerably eventful, like, going on in this seed. I mean, we did find a couple of nice things early on, but other than that, we haven't really seen too much. I mean, we've got what, like a bajillion rupees, enough to last us like the entire game, plus many safeties and both invincibility items. Like, there's got to be something worth our time here.
What do you think is going to break this open for us? And maybe more importantly, do you think it's going to be one of these big keys that they're now kind of swapping locations on? So Rambler would be able to check the back, most of the back of Thieves Town if he wanted to, and Edium can go up Air Tower if he wants to.
Hard to say, really. I feel like that it's gonna be the Thieves Town big key that's gonna break this seed open, and I'm gonna assume it's Thieves Town big key and the flute's gonna be on blind.
That's one of the nicer places to find the flute, especially when you've already got the mirror like these runners do, because you can just pop right out of Thieves Town, mirror over, and turn it on.
Yeah, that's exactly something that this seed would do. Oh yeah, no, tracking Keysanity is hard. I can say that because I've tracked Keysanity a lot. It's not fun.
Just running Keysanity isn't always the easiest thing in the world. There's a reason I'm on comms tonight instead of playing.
And there's a reason I'm on comms tonight instead of what I usually do, which is tracking. Whatever. Yeah, so they're essentially just trading places at this point. So Rambler has the big key to Thieves Town, so he is going to be able to clear it. Except he doesn't have that small key.
It's another one of those checks that you really don't want to orphan, and it'll really weigh on your mind sometimes, that Thieves Town big chest. Meanwhile, Edium's going to be coming in for disappointment here in another 15-ish seconds. He'll find that compass to whichever dungeon it was.
I mean, it's definitely a compass, but compasses are not relevant in this mode.
Well, for completeness sake, we will note that it was the compass to Skull Woods.
For some reason, like, we keep finding these Skull Woods items, and it's, like, really weird, because we see the compass to Skull Woods on Edium's side, and then we see the big key to Skull Woods on Rambler's side, which, obviously, both of them each got previously, but it's like, you're going all over, and you're just finding more Skull Woods items. And it's not like we're really going to need them anyway.
Edium with a pod small and one of the Hera checks that Rambler was unable to do without that big key. And the second bow.
Silvers are definitely a very nice thing, which means we won't be seeing a silverless Ganon today. Sorry, folks.
No, if you want that, there's always the VOD of last night's race. And continuing theme of making checks that the other was not able to make because of a missing big key, Rambler's getting into the back of Thieves Town. Just a heart and a piece of heart from Moldorm, who at least had the heart not to knock Edium off the platform.
So we have the first crystal of the match and the first dungeon completed on Edium's side at 37 minutes and 50 seconds in.
And as he does that, Rambler finds himself a fetch quest. We have the book.
I mean, the book is nice. That does give us logical access to desert.
Logical access to desert, and he has the Master Sword already, so next time he wanders by the tablets, he can not just check them, but pick them up.
Yep.
Alright, so we'll get 10 sticks out of Blind Cell, and Rambler will go see if he's going to find that flute that you're calling on blind.
If it turns out to be a flute, I swear.
I don't know, do you weigh as much as a duck, perhaps? Here's Blind. We'll likely see the full scripted fight. Or maybe not. Rambler has his own ideas of how this fight should be taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of... I mean, he still got the job done, but not on script. And we get the big key to Turtle Rock. So...
Alright, well...
So, Flute's gonna be somewhere else.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. With 2 medallions in the pocket now, you start to wonder, have I been given this big key and 2 TR smalls for a reason? I still don't have a fire rod, so, you know, you're orphaning at least 2 checks on the front right-hand side.
Yes, I don't have a fire rod or an ice rod, but I have a cane of Samaria, and I've got the mitts, and I've got the hammer. Could we potentially have what we need to enter Turtle Rock? Which is what Edium's gonna give us a check for.
No, of course, since it's on the way, he'll stop off and give us the checks and Super Bunny. With yet another pod small.
I will be disappointed if we do not see a pod small in pod.
That seems to be a pretty common play, and Vanilla Quake for Turtle Rock. It is enterable. You got the Cane of Samaria. You can make some checks.
Yeah, we can make quite a few checks. We can't check the right side, though, because we don't have the fire rod. But we can go into the depths of the dungeon.
And Edium does not have that big key yet, which was on blind.
That is correct.
So once again, this trading places thing may be happening where Edium might go in and find something that's going to lead him somewhere else. Meanwhile, Rambler will come up later with his big key in tow and maybe find something else deeper in the dungeon. Just a piece of heart is the first check.
Yeah, not really anything much of interest there.
Ether Hammer strats to get by the pokey. That's a nice one.
Yep, I did not think about using Ether for strats. I guess freezing the enemies definitely is a quicker way of killing And we're gonna get a purple chest turn in. Did we get this on Edium's side?
Yes, we got that on Edium's side. But Rambler is going to be able to carry on through with that book in tow and check the Bombos tablet.
Yeah, and then Route and Desert Palace as well.
It is nice that the seed is finally offering them a little bit of divergence as Rambler picks the flippers up. I guess that gives him access to the first 4 checks in Swamp Palace. It doesn't do him any good for ice yet, since he has neither the Fire Rod nor Bombos.
Well, first 4 checks at Swamp, we don't have the Swamp Small.
Oh, you're right, we don't have the Swamp Small yet. All these small keys, and you're missing the one that actually matters.
I mean, there are quite a few small keys that do matter, but that Swamp Small definitely matters a lot more, per se, than the other small keys do in 80 Keysanity.
It's the one small key that will really lead you into a trap if you're not thinking like I just wasn't, and you wander into the front thinking you're going to check 4 or 5 checks, and you're checking 1 instead. Unless, of course, it happens to be a vanilla small key, in which case you start laughing.
And we all love seeing vanilla. Yes, this is an all dungeons goal.
Edium with the Redarang in Mimic Cave can be handy if you want to, say, use one of the Splash Delete Ancilla variants.
I'm a little surprised that Rambler just saved and quit. Oh wait, no, he was just in Desert. This goes to show how much I don't pay attention whenever I'm commentating.
And Edium released his fairy and took an intentional death in the dungeon so that he could save and continue. What he's setting up here is the ability to save scum this small key. He's going to check the middle lava chest here, and if it's nothing he wants, he's just going to hard reset.
Yeah, it makes sense. You know, check that for a small key, and hopefully it's worth something, but it probably won't be. It's just a map, so he's probably going to hard reset. And there's the hard reset right there.
And that's one less key he has to find for the dungeon. Of course, knowing that, now that means he'll probably stumble upon both of the other small keys in relatively short order. Alright, so it looks like Rambler is heading north, probably Catfish, since he does not yet have the hookshot to cross over here.
Yeah, I'm really curious as to where this seed wants us to go. Because there's not really much else, like, in terms of overworld checks.
It really isn't giving them a lot of obvious signals of what it wants to have happen. Which tells me that it's probably logical double dips all the way down.
Or it's probably going to be Zora or something like that. Actually, this actually kind of works out because Rambler is going to... He has that mirror out. He's going to go check what's on Catfish, and then he's going to mirror and just do all the Zora area checks. And do the flipper checks as well.
Well, Catfish is paying out today.
And there's the flute I was talking about.
And a third sword for his trouble.
And the Waterfall Fairy giving out red potions today.
Yeah, if you've got an empty bottle, you're certainly not going to turn it down.
Okay, King Zora, will you be a scam today, or will you actually be worth our time? Because judging by the fact that there's a piece of heart on the ledge there, probably means we're not going to be seeing anything worth it from you.
Well, at least Rambler won't be hurting for money even if it is a scam. He'll still be over 1,000 once he does this.
I mean, it's something, but it's not something I would potentially pay 500 rupees for.
Hey kid, thanks for the 500 bucks. I got this bottle for you. It's got a bee in it.
Rambler forgetting that he needs to actually activate the flute first.
It is not a pre-activated flute mode. He is going to have to take the walk back over to the village and activate it himself.
Yeah, he could have saved that bee and it could have made him some honey, but who knows?
Well, then what happens? You have an orange bottle. You look at it. What does an orange potion do? Oh, that's not a potion. That's just honey. Alright, with his activated flute, probably Meyer area, you think?
Yeah, that's what makes sense. And he's flew into 6 right now, so he's gonna go and check the Meyer area. Go check out Meyer shit, check out the Meyer medallion requirement, possibly enter if it's Ether or Quake, which knowing this game is gonna be Ether.
It is
And
Ether,
of,
but
and of course it is.
yep, but we're not going to see him go in because he doesn't have the boots or the hook shot yet, and he can't cross that cap.
Both medallion requirements are pure vanilla. I should have known. Hey, there's the big key to Eastern.
Yeah, you probably don't feel terribly great about that if you're Rambler, having dipped in for the 4 checks that you could make earlier and gotten nothing out of it. Looks like Idiom's also getting a little sideways on the blind script here.
Oh hey, do you like fetch quests? Here's another.
I don't know, the book fetch quest gave him the flippers. It seems to be working out okay for Rambler so far.
And Edium gets his first pendant. Not the best blind fight, and certainly not on script, but he does get it.
Yeah, sometimes any fight you can walk away from. Rambler trying to push his advantage here with this flute mobility and go everywhere he wants. Back up the mountain in this case.
Yeah, when you don't got the boots, the flute is a very nice way to get around the light world.
Between the two, I like it more in a lot of cases, simply because it saves you so many screen transitions. Even when you're dashing, when you're crossing 5 or 6 tiles on the overworld, it takes time.
Yeah, it definitely takes less time to just toot the flute, call a bird that'll sweep you into the air and just take you wherever you want. Out of eight possible locations.
Yep, near simultaneous tablet checks, but of course Rambler already had what Idiom got, and what Rambler got on his second check is not really worth just 20 more bucks. Now he's going to start up his second dip of Hera now that he's got the big key, and Edium's going to make the desert check. Again, we have our runners trading places because that's what the seed keeps giving them. Kind of a linear path with maybe one or two choices at a time max.
Seeing these runners go through their same checks, let's get a little bit less, how do I want to put it, less oriented towards this race and talk more about current events. So, ALTTP Festive is going on. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I've played the first 3 days of it so far. I've been having quite a bit of fun. It's being the door randomizer portion of it is not something that I normally play a lot of. I find that I like it in, kind of the bite-sized bits of the festive. Maybe not something that I would want to play full seeds of at a time, but, that's just me. I know a lot of people really like it.
Yeah, I'm personally a very big fan of it. Granted, though, this is my second festive, first winter festive that I've done, and I really do enjoy it. I find the door rando to be very interesting, and I definitely have considered playing full door rando seeds, as we're gonna get NY Rambler doing the Moldorm fight, slash and spin with the Temper Sword, easy fight for Moldorm, and he is going to get his 5/6 crystal.
Now, he already knows that Eastern is his other one, and he has the big key in hand for it. I wonder how early he tries to turn that into a play.
Well, let's
And
see.
looks like the
Yeah.
answer to that's going to be Nowie.
Yep. I was gonna say, yeah. At this, you got 3 pod keys. Just route it in with pod. That's sufficient routing right there.
Yep, you've got the mirror in hand, walk up there once, check both dungeons to the best of your ability. Yep, makes sense.
Edium's also going to be checking Pyramid and Catfish as well.
Well, he'd be happy once he makes his way on up to Catfish.
Yeah, gonna go and get that flute.
Rambler going to go ahead and make the Eastern play first. I like this. I like it more when you don't have the silvers, because going through the back end of Eastern can run you through quite a few sticks, and then you can fill them back up on the pod trip. Of course, with the silvers in hand, you're going to spend 6, maybe 7 or 8 if you're a little unlucky with a couple of shots on Armos. It's less of a problem. Of course, he only has the 2 checks in here. He made the 4 non-big key checks earlier in the race. So we're just going to go in, run right past everything, check the big chest, and then head for the Armos Knights.
Yeah, shouldn't be a problem. You got silvers, so pretty much any boss except for Ganon and Vitreous go down in 1 hit.
Apologies here, we seem to have a small cropping issue on Rambler's side. Edium finding out that the Waterfall Fairy is handing out red potions, which Rambler already knew.
And now we are back to normal cropping.
Blinking you miss at Silver's Armos fight.
I'm sorry, I blinked. Armors were suddenly there, and now they're not.
And all that for the Compass of Ice Palace. Rather than that, you might have liked to see, the fire rod or bombos that would actually allow you to do something in Ice Palace.
Yep, and now he's gonna go into pod.
It makes sense, especially knowing that he was going to be able to make all the checks in Eastern. It was possible that he could have found another pod small or the pod big in Eastern Palace.
Get our first Meyer small key.
Now, I have heard that it is actually slower to do what Rambler did there and fold the sword out and spin the mini Helmosaur after pushing the statue, but it looks so swaggy I do it anyway. Plus, I don't think that it's slower enough to make any difference at my skill level. That half a second or whatever it is slower is not going to win me any races. As expected with his limited key set, he is just going up the Bowlock side. We'll probably see this again, depending on what he finds in the back half of the dungeon.
Yeah, we're going to probably be saved. We're gonna probably be saving the key by avoiding opening the middle door.
And it may be another case where we see a save scum to check the vanilla big key chest, which you can see on the kind of middle of this screen that he's on at the moment. Well, there's that swamp small that would have tripped me up earlier.
Just need a hook shot and we can complete swamp.
And it looks like he's just going to go ahead and check the vanilla big key chest. Let's see if we have worth. It is a piece of heart.
And another piece of heart in the Stalfos drop down.
Surprisingly, here we are at the hour mark and we're still on the first row of hearts. It was all money, no love, apparently.
Oh, how explaining the real issues faced with us today.
Yeah, it looks like Edium is going to follow along and make this same Eastern Light Dark check. So while we're seeing both of them doing roughly the same things at the hour mark, let me thank Duodeca, who is co-comming with me, Professor Renderer, who is handling the streams and pushing all the buttons behind the scenes so that those trackers work. Please give them your love, of course, NY Rambler and Edium, who are putting on the show for everybody. Give them a follow if you like what you're seeing, folks. Now we've got Rambler getting into the back half of the pod. Normally this is where you would expect to start seeing all the items, but of course in Keysanity, the items are everywhere. And the keys are everywhere, like, say, the big key to Ice Palace, which, without the fire rod or bombos, is still kind of meaningless.
The checks are everywhere and the keys don't matter.
Well, except that swamp small.
Yes, that is the only key that matters.
And don't let Ganon hear you say that. Big key to your tower? Nah, we don't need that. Hey, you can just sit up there. We're not worried about you.
I mean, this is not a pedestal goal, so...
No, and that might be more appropriate to say in something like a cross-world entrances seed, where he can be in some other drop-down instead.
Does get the hammer jump, quite effortlessly. Hey, there's the one item that isn't on the Keysanity tracker.
Yeah, it can be handy later on if you want to catch yourself a fairy.
Or if you like fighting Aga with style.
Yeah, fighting Aga with style is fun. Now with that Swamp Small in hand, it looks like Rambler is going to go ahead and make the play into Swamp. I'm pretty sure he's checked everything else in this area. But he's going to prove me wrong right off. Oh, alright, he's going to make the Pyramid Fairy play.
Yeah, this makes sense. You're right there, so go make the Pyramid Fairy play, and then you can go and just clear out Swamp. But we can't clear out Swamp until we have a hook shot. And unless Pyramid Fairy has the hook shot, or Swamp is French vanilla and being really cheeky, then we're gonna have to search for that. B%? Oh no.
Now I suppose we could see the Swamp Big here in Pyramid Fairy and then have a vanilla hook shot. Now the seed's had enough vanilla already.
My seeds have too much vanilla, and the seeds that I've either commentated or tracked in the league have had too much vanilla.
Just a couple of refills and a refill B. Big 20s. The money does not stop in this seed, apparently.
Yep, bees aren't stopping at all, and we're gonna get a Swamp Palace check. But before that, let's go and check Hobo, which we know for a fact is nothing.
Yep, but he's walking right by. This is as fast as the check's gonna get. Meanwhile, get your eyes ready. If you blinked last time, the second Silver Zarmos fight is coming up now.
Okay, that time I didn't blink.
Yeah, there's a reason the Silvers are normally tucked away in the late game in the vanilla game. They do a lot of damage to a lot of things.
Yeah, most powerful weapon in the entire game. They pretty much one-hit everything except for Biddy and Ganon.
Yeah, they also take 2 on the Pokies in Turtle Rock, surprisingly enough.
That is true.
Alright, and as expected, we're going to go ahead and get this Front of Swamp play out of Rambler. He has to be hoping for something.
Yeah, can't get to the back of Swamp, and definitely can't complete this. And definitely can't complete Swamp until we get that hook shot.
So, knowing the way this seed's been going, it's probably something more like Fire Rod or Bombos to go get your hookshot out of Ice Palace. Edium's making his way through the bow-locked side of Pod, finding not much work this time, unfortunately. You know, I've always loathed the skeletons. Why do they get more evasion than the hero does?
I don't know. I've always hated the Stalfos in this game because they just jump back, and especially with the red ones, I find even more annoying.
Because first they jump back and then they attack you. And it seems to go through more things than it really ought.
There it is. There's the fire rod.
Alright, well, that was kind of expected at this point. That'll give Ice Palace also those 2 right side checks and Turtle Rock are doable at this point. Probably hoping to put that off until he finds the hookshot, just so he can do hookshot cave while he's up there. Going up for a couple of checks in TR is quite a trip and quite a time commitment. Unfortunately, with no hookshot, we're going to have to do left side of swamp the slow way.
Yep, the slow and tedious way.
There are 2 potential setups, and he has both the bombs and the Cane of Samaria, but unfortunately, without the hookshot to pick up the small key over there on the right-hand side of the central room, none of it matters. And I am sure that whoever programmed in that fireball shooter in that room placed it right in that spot with malice aforethought. It seems to hit me every time.
Okay, so left side swamp. What 2 things are you gonna have for us that we're gonna have to take the slow way as we climb the staircase to this room 2 times?
You have to imagine that the second item is going to be no better, but at this point, with the things you're still missing, you have to make the check.
Yeah, I mean, you're right there, so just make it. But we have that fire rod, so as you said, it does put Turtle Rock in, it does put the right side of Turtle Rock in logic. It also does put Mothula in logic.
Yeah, and it puts the
But
Ice Palace. That's the big number of checks here at the moment, I think.
yes.
Gets his flute out and goes to 8, so it looks like he's going to go ahead and make that Ice Palace play. Meanwhile, Edium is still right in the middle of this pod play, making all the checks we've seen.
Yeah, they've really just been mirroring each other. Like, there hasn't really been too much, like, you know, like, real divergence. Also, that simultaneous menu pausing was very satisfying.
You don't see a whole lot of that now that Quick Swap is the order of the day. Couple of spins and down go the pin gators. There are a lot of different ways to do that room. When you've got the tempered sword or better, most of them are pretty easy.
Edium is also going to go and do Pyramid Fairy, only to find more disappointment. We're going to see an Icebreaker from NY Rambler.
This is a fun glitch. I've always found it a little finicky to set up. It looks like Rambler agrees with me. Now, you can tell when you've got your one-frame movement to the left because you'll hear the sound of the block moving, but you will not see the floor under it. You'll see the dark gap on the large, what do we want to call that, pillar there? In any event, if you miss it, rather than pushing up or down and ruining your block placement, you can simply tap left again and try and get your one frame. My personal favorite is to do it with a menu buffer, which is not so meaningful in Quick Swap, to menu to the hammer. But there are any number of ways you can set it up. Finding the one that works best and most consistently for you is really the way to go, and Rambler has the boots.
That is a terrible place for the boots to be.
The boots and a big key to pod.
What do you expect? It's Ice Palace. It's going to have all the progression in it.
Well, the boots wind up giving you kind of an interesting set of checks where you have Bonk Rocks and Kings to him available to you now. That'll also give him his entry to Mire, now that he can bonk across the gap, and he's got the big key of that. So, what, 8 checks there now?
Something like that.
Yeah, again, it seems like the seed is just doling out, 1, maybe 2 places at most that you can go to find your next progression item. Here we've got the boots, unless Ice Palace decides that it's going to hand out anything else, that we're going to take the boots over to Mire and probably find our, hook shot there maybe? Maybe a big key of some variety?
I mean, knowing this game, like, what else could it be? It's gonna be something stupid.
Speaking of Mire, there was Edium picking up the big key for it out of Spike Cave.
Yep, and we did see that on Rambler's side.
Fire Rod, a little Tempered Sword, and Cold Stare melts.
Puffs do escape a little bit, but other than that, like, he gets the job done relatively quickly. And Ice Palace is also a normal crystal as well.
It's certainly nice to have in hand. So let's see, does he take the boots and make boots checks, or does he take the boots straight to Mire?
Straight to Mire we go.
From a density perspective, particularly in a keys mode, it makes sense. Of course, in more normal settings, there are only 2 actual items in here. And it can take a while to dig them out.
So with that map track, Swamp is a crystal.
Now, as we're playing All Dungeons keys here, I will point out that we still do have the second castle tower key outstanding.
Yep, that one finicky castle tower small key, which can be literally anywhere in the world.
It's like an ice rod, but worse.
No, it's essentially an ice rod.
Ah, but it can be on Trinexx.
That's true.
Meanwhile, we've got Edium in Swamp Palace here, and he'll find his fire rod here in the next couple of checks.
Render, I was just about to make that joke. Hey, there's the ice rod.
It's all dungeons, you'll need it eventually.
And now let's sit through 11 seconds of a screen just rumbling.
It has its own personal shaky cam. A little health refill for the time investment. You'll take it, I guess. Now, I see in chat, imagine what if you thought the screen shake was a glitch and reset the game. Thankfully, at least if you were playing in the vanilla game, you would have seen the screen shaking while the actual wall was moving, say, in Desert Palace, and you would kind of expect that that was happening somewhere. At least that's what I vaguely recall, the memories of my youth. Edium's going to make his unfortunate time investment here in the left side of Swamp. Rambler did it as well, so he's not really losing here necessarily, but he's certainly not gaining. Rambler, I believe, was intending to hookshot over and check that penultimate chest, and realized he doesn't have the hookshot. That's not going to work. So, having made the loop back around, he'll dash down the bridge and get 10 sticks for his troubles.
And hello to our people rating from Speed Gaming 4. This is the ALTTP Randomizer Daily Race. We have a Keysanity All Dungeons seed for you guys. We have NY Rambler on the left and Edium on the right.
Edium, of course, making the play the seed was insisting he make by giving him only the fire rod in the front of Swamp Palace, and heading into ice. Now, we know, since Rambler's already been through here, that this will reward him with boots.
So, what do we need here for go mode? We need Desert Palace Big Key. We need Desert Palace Big Key. We need a CT Small Key. We need a hook shot.
And that might be it, as long as they have enough pod smalls to get to the boss.
I mean, you can complete pod with 4 smalls if you hammer jump and do all the crazy stuff, which I'm not familiar with. And here's another blink and you'll miss it fight. Vitreous is just gonna be 2 arrows and he'll be down.
Finally turning out the heart containers, Rambler has made it onto his second row. And he has the green pendant. Think we might see a quick turn in of that?
I mean, why not? Like, you're right there. Assuming he... Oh, never mind. Oh, he's gonna go to Skullwoods.
That makes sense, and depending on what he thinks of his key count and what he already did in pod, he may be looking for another small before he goes back, and then he can turn in the green pendant while he's in the area. Well, that picket just nicked his shield.
Yeah, yeah, you're gonna have to remove that shield from the tracker. Thank you.
He, in fact, did have a shield right up until he was heading into Skullwoods, and the picket stole it from him.
Idiom, realizing he doesn't have a small key for that door, so he just bonks right into it.
Realizing it with his face.
Yes. I tend to realize a lot of things with my face.
One of the more satisfying rooms in the game, that 4-mummy torch puzzle in the back end of Skullwoods. Just fire, fire, and more fire. Fire all day long.
Don't play with fire. Unless it's
only heroes should play with fire.
unless you're Link.
Or I suppose in this case Homer Simpson.
Yes. Oh, high pod small.
Idiom was using a little game knowledge there on his cold stare fight, using his beams to back up the fire rod to save himself a few extra shots. If you use a sword beam on the shell immediately following a fire rod shot, you can, at least some of the time, get an extra hit to count.
There it is. Back of Skullwoods. And we're gonna get a pet check.
You may as well. You're looking for things still, and you're right here, but it is just pocket change.
Yep. Dream is dead. Sorry, guys.
It's been money all day long with this seed. Why would it be anything else on the pedestal?
Very true. Render, this isn't the worst thing that's happened in Seed you've rolled.
Edium disposing of his frozen bird and heading into the mire.
I always love the frozen bird toss. It's very satisfying.
The bird toss, the bird carry is pretty amusing. Bird hammer. Laconic Shock in chat mentioning that after proper frozen bird disposal, they are now rooting for Edium. It seems
Rambler,
like
what?
as reasonable a way to make that choice as any.
I was wondering what Rambler was doing, but then I said, oh, wait, he's going to hammer jump and just mirror after getting the big chest.
Ten hole sticks at the expense of the bomb. Of course, after mirroring, you can pick that bomb right back up. Alright, so let's go ahead and speculate a bit. It looks like at this point we're just looking for keys. Where do you think that Desert Big and the other Castle Tower Small are?
Oh, I feel like the Castle Tower Small is going to be in GT.
That is certainly possible. It could be tucked away all the way at the back of the gauntlet, for all we know.
Or it can be in chest 216, the Plus Moldorm chest.
Meanwhile, we're still looking to find one pendant versus crystal, so that Desert Big, if Desert is a pendant, could also be tucked away in Ganon's tower somewhere.
And now on to the Helmosaur King.
"17 hammer shots will knock that mask off, and then it looks like it's going to be one silver arrow right to the jewel. As with so many other things that can be affected by silver arrows, he falls down in one of them. The reward for defeating this terrifying monster? You can pick up a few of the arrows you used along the way.
And by few, I mean 3. Or 2.
Not much of a reward, was it?
I mean, arrows are plentiful in this game, so it's not a reward at all. I'd rather take a single rupee over 10 arrows.
Well, there was that other Hyrule Castle Small. It was on the green pendant from Pendant Mire.
No, Retrobo sucks. Retrobo sucks.
Well, I think Rambler would be able to afford it this seed. As we say that, Edium makes his victorious kill, picks up his heart container and green pendant. He doesn't know it yet, but that will turn into the second Castle Tower small key that he needs.
It's a Hyrule Castle Small. It's not Castle Tower.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Yeah,
Well, then the hunt continues.
It's the completely useless key.
Well, if you find it early before you find the glove, it's not so useless. But in this case, yeah, not helping anybody.
I mean, Keysanity logic is really weird because the game assumes you will use all your keys and use them in the worst way possible. Which is why the front of escape is not in logic until we get that Hyrule Castle Small.
See, now you say that, and I start to wonder, what was it we found in the front?
It was probably trash. In retro mode, it is 10 rupees per wood arrow and 50 per a silver arrow. And Edium unfortunately gets grabbed. And Rambler is gonna go ahead and show us a diver down.
That being the Samaria version, which is the one of the two versions that I can actually do. The other is a bomb setup, which is probably the better one to know since you can guarantee yourself that you're going to hold on to bombs more often than not.
I'm pretty sure there are aren't there only 2 setups unless there's like a third?
Yeah, I believe those are the two.
Edium's gonna be relatively disappointed in that he just found his hookshot here, and Skull was like, really? Here?
As Eddie makes his way into the penultimate room to Mothula, we have Rambler blowing away a whole bunch of Argai. What is it with bosses and compasses this seed? That's what, 3, 4?
Something like that.
I mean, you'd think one of 2 of them would be holding on to a blue or a red rupee just for, change's sake, if nothing else.
Yeah, rando be rando though. If the bosses didn't want Link to get lost, they'd give him maps.
Alright, Eddie improving for the second time on the restream that the ped is in fact dead. Edium will make his way into the back of Swamp Palace now that he's gotten his hookshot from Skullwoods. Meanwhile, Rambler is going to do these mirror and probably boots checks here in kind of the north central. Well, they're all light roll checks, but he's going to use the mirror to kind of navigate about. One full heart container in King's Tomb, you have to wonder about that placement. And he'll polish it off with bonk rocks, it looks like, and then, what do you think? Go up the mountain, check the check Hookshot Cave, and the checks you couldn't do before in Turtle Rock?
Probably.
I think those are his next big plays at the moment.
I feel like they're the only plays you really can do because we can't complete desert. So really, it's just Turtle Rock that we can do. And if Turtle Rock is a crystal, then we're in G mode.
And you have to wonder about Turtle Rock a little bit, since we still have not found the fourth key for it. Now, of course, with the save scumming shenanigans, that shouldn't really be a problem, but... Ooh, Eddie missed his 1 pixel down and left to get the dash through the door there. It's nice when you get it. It looks a little face tanky when you don't. Anybody for a pod small? Anybody?
Unfortunately, there were no pod smalls in pod. Such a shame.
There's always a pod small in pod, except when there's not.
Precisely. Hey,
Okay.
there's the other tower small.
Yes, this time I can read. That was Castle Tower small. And a Skull Wood small, which I don't think anybody's going to care about. And a Missouri Mire small, which is also completely useless to us. But it was not small key heaven. We're going to finish off with 20 rupes.
I mean, we really just need, like, we just need a Desert Palace big for go mode.
Alright, so I saw a comment earlier that it looked like Rambler might have had a bit of an advantage at the time. This is where he's going to give Edium a little time back, in that Edium has already made a lot of these rock checks. Now, of course, he's going to get to do it in one go, most likely. But he does only have the 3 keys. I do notice that as the items are filling up, we are seeing a little more menuing.
Yeah, quick swapping starts to become a little less advantageous after a while because you get more items, more things to quick swap through. Apparently, all the health this seed was in Turtle Rock.
It is kind of looking that way. All of a sudden, Rambler's only missing 3 hearts to complete his entire set. Wonder if we can trade them all in for some baseball cards afterwards.
I miss those days.
It's a joke as old as the game, folks. I apologize, but I am showing my age ever so slightly. Edium's on his way through the basement here in Pod to go have word with the Helmsware King and find his partial stick refill.
Yep. Now, Rambler, are you going to save Scum the key, or are you just going to go all out and say, I'm just going to go... Oh, he is going to save Scum. This is something I like, because it's not a logical thing to do, but by doing this, you're just leaving behind one item and you don't really care.
And provided you find what you're looking for.
Which, knowing this game, won't happen. But who knows?
As he's checking Mimic Cave, Edium has smashed his way through Helmsor King's mask, and just like Rambler, one silver arrow to the jewel, and down goes the lizard, turtle, cat thing, whatever it is. Helmsor. We call them Helmsors for a reason.
French vanilla map.
Well,
Hey,
you know,
now
he
we...
got that. He could have stepped right outside and found out whether this was his last crystal or not.
Yeah, he could have. He very well could have.
I mean, it's supposed to be a useful item, right? Otherwise, why would they give it to you?
True. Also, hi, Bombos. Oh god, what if Desert Palace Big is hidden behind something stupid like the shovel?
Yeah, it could become a key hunt. That is one of the dangers of Keysanity.
Well, I mean, it is a key hunt, because Brambler is just a Desert Palace Big from Go.
Well, he's going to check Laser Bridge for us. Maybe he'll just find it here.
That's not it.
That is.
There it is. Yeah, Rambler says, I'm in go mode. Screw all these other chests, I'm going.
There's not a whole lot left in the game that could reasonably be considered to help him. What, one more sword? We know where the other mail upgrade is, so it wasn't going to be that. One more bottle? You have to imagine he's thinking, I don't need any of these things. The Edium in 1v1s against me, he's up 3-0. I've gotta go fast.
Now, $1 million question. Is this a crystal or is this a pendant? Nicely done.
A Trinex making a little U shape on the bottom of the room.
And it was our last crystal. It would be at this point where we would do the GT Big Key guessing game, but given that this is Keysanity, we aren't going to do that. Because we already have the GT Big Key.
And found it in something like the 4th check of the game, not the 4th check of Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, so if you guessed 4 in the number of checks before we get the GT Big Key in the overworld, you were right. And you win nothing because this isn't because we didn't actually set up the game.
And of course, he's looking for nothing, and with the big key and 4 smalls in hand, he's just going to charge straight up. PTB, I will mention that that was simply a comment they made in the race room. That is a lifetime between them. This is just a daily race. That the Rio has nothing to do with it, other than kind of a kind of notable little stat that they happened to mention beforehand. So Rambler having gotten to this point, it really is just pure execution. I don't know how familiar he might happen to be with an MG, but having the Tempered Sword is the normal state to be in when you're climbing Ganon's Tower. So you would have to think pretty comfortable. That Red Zazak giving him the business a little bit there, but he's got him.
And this Lambo 2 fight should be over relatively quickly.
Idiom finds what I believe.
Idiom, what do you do? Okay, well, he gets the Butter Sword. I'm Idiom. What are you doing? You're in go mode.
That's what I was wondering. I saw him pick up his... Oh, does he not have his second Castle Tower key? The tracker doesn't have it.
Oh, does he not? We'll probably see in a second when he menus. Or not. Oh, he didn't do Hookshot Cave?
Well, that being the case, killing Trinex is going to spit him out right in range to go check it. There aren't a whole lot of other things left at this point.
Yeah, you tend to see really high collection rates in AD Keysanity seeds.
Simultaneous boss explosions.
And now, let's see how well you know your agonometry.
Sometimes the wizard plays nice, and sometimes you don't. This second pattern, not so much. And out comes Ganon, who apparently might have been playing a little Castlevania before he decided to make his appearance.
Probably so.
As a reminder, being all dungeons, Rambler is not ready to drop in and slay the pig just yet. He still needs to defeat Aghanim 1 and clear Desert Palace.
Nedium does pick up that CT small, so he is now in go mode.
I can understand wanting to make the dive into TR first, just in case you happen to find the small key you're looking for there, along with the Desert Palace Pig. Save you a couple of screen transitions with Hookshot Cave if you don't have to go in. Rambler, with a set of equipment that is entirely overpowered for Aghanim's tower, is making very short work of this climb. That was an interesting boomerang hit on that first guard there. It looked like it caught the search sprite the first time, and the second time hit him what looked like straight on, and instead he went sideways into the pit.
Alright, and now let's play another game. How many blue balls is Zyka gonna give us?
Well, I believe mathematically the average is 3, but it can be as many as 15, provided you reflect everything that is reflectable at him.
My usual guess tends to be 6.
The unkind ones do tend to be more memorable.
There's one.
Seems to be a reasonably generous wizard, for once.
There's 2.
I spoke too soon, didn't I?
And there's 3.
Three is the number thou shalt count.
And down goes Zyka.
Back to the top of the pyramid, where he still does not want to be, because he has yet to go kill the land molas in Desert Palace.
Yep, he's just one dungeon away, and then he'll be able to call it a seed.
Of course, with the big key already in hand, he can just mirror right in front of the back here, as long as he doesn't mirror bonk himself.
Like he just did right there.
He manages his Agatu fight, taking what looks like no damage. Now he has to go play with the other version of Wizard, or we'll see, maybe he wants to go do Desert first. Probably just take Aga 1 while he's there.
Yeah, it makes sense. You're right there.
I suppose the nice thing about killing Aga 1 first and then going and doing Desert Palace, if you do like Rambler did and leave your mirror portal right there, after you beat the boss, you can step into that and save and quit, and it'll put you on the pyramid.
Yeah. Also, another blink and you miss it fight, except not really.
Well, if you have your timing right, that one ends pretty quickly. That's one of those fights I've never really gotten the timing down for all that well, so mine tend to go more like that. Or worse. Worse happens.
Alright, and now on to the big pig.
Now onto the mirror bonk.
And there's that save and quit. And there's the fall.
Ganon giving us bug facts today. Well, why not? I'm partial to the hot air balloon fact myself, but there are any number of interesting Ganon texts.
Yeah. There are quite a few nice Ganon texts here and there. Blind also has some nice text to him.
Yeah, he has quite a few entertaining ones.
Ganon's trivia bugs me. Oh no.
Rambler already into Phase 3. Already almost through Phase 3. There goes Phase 3. Misses his torch glitch, but when you have silvers, sometimes you don't really want it.
And down goes Ganon. So everyone get your GG's in for NY Rambler as he is about to go and cross the most dangerous 1x3 bridge in all of Hyrule. And NY Rambler finishes first place on Restream and first place overall with an official racetime.gg time of 2 hours and 38 seconds.
Ever so slightly over the 2-hour mark, but this seed was particularly unkind. Sub 2-houring this one would have been quite the feat.
And here we are, joined by the man himself, NY Rambler. GG's.
GG.
Yeah, I like that seed. That was fun. And I'm not just saying that because I won. I like that seed. It was fun. Even swamp and pod like that, you know, you kind of expect that in all Dungeon Keysanity.
It was fun to watch. It seemed like it really only wanted to give you 1 or 2 options at a time.
Yeah, basically when the game kind of funneled me into swamp, and once that happened, everything just led to each other. Like swamp gave me fire rod sent me to ice palace, which got me the boots, which sent me to mire, which got me this and that and the other. So. And I was in go mode before I got to GT, so that was fun.
Yeah, kind of looking back through the seed a little bit, how about that first glove tucked away in Dark Cross?
You know, I put that off a little bit, but I had the mirror from Uncle, so it was like that was fine, and that, you know, just kind of had to be there. If it wasn't that, it was going to be like sword plus second castle tower key at that point, which I wouldn't have minded. It's all dungeons, so I don't mind doing Agro 1 early if it's an all dungeon Keysanity seed.
Yeah, the game's going to force you into it sooner or later. That's the mode.
You're just in there in Hookshot Cave, don't have to worry about it, and then go. I didn't know if it was Turtle Rock or Desert was dependent. Both maps were in Turtle Rock, so you know. But I figured the way the keys were laid out that it was Turtle Rock was Yellow Crystal, and then I was going to have to go back and beat Desert, and I was prepared to just full clear GT if I had to look for that Desert Palace big, and I was thinking maybe there's some chance that my opponent would steal the key from the back of Desert, and then have to look for Desert Small because I never found it, which I'm assuming is somewhere in GT.
Oh, it's probably somewhere stupid. Like, yeah, it's probably in GT.
Yeah, the only keys I. By the way, the funniest thing was after I got Mitts in the front of Thieves, finished Thieves, and the first Mitts check I do was the Thieves Small. Thank God it didn't have anything. Might have had Turtle Rock 4, but you know we didn't need that, thankfully. Yeah, the logic of Keysanity really forces you to do some weird things, like Palace of Darkness. I had to route it in a weird way because I had 3 keys, so I could full clear the dungeon minus the big chest and the boss at the time. Then come back later when I got 1 or 2 more keys, which I did.
Yeah, it really is a mode that rewards people who know how to do all of those little tricks in dungeons like Pod, where you can save keys if you know how to do so.
More so favors those who route correctly, because I think routing is the most important thing in all dungeon Keysanity.
And Edium also crosses the bridge, and he finishes 2nd place on Restream and 2nd place overall with official racetime.gg time of 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 42 seconds.
Hey, the people in chat were right. They got the 2. They said, "Oh, Rambler and Etienne put on a good show," and sure enough, we're 1st and 2nd. Go figure. I thought it was gonna be him first, me like 2nd or 3rd, but you know, because he usually beats me.
Yeah, you guys had mentioned that in the race room beforehand, and we mentioned it on the stream a couple of times, and well, this is how it turned out.
Yeah, probably just like a couple of routing decisions here or there. I mean, my play wasn't perfect, but it was, you know, I like my routing.
It's difficult to play something like All Dungeons Keys perfectly.
Yeah, especially because I pretty much did everything except for Thieves Big at that point, I think.
And there was a point, and I'm hoping that Eddie will pop in here in a minute, that I would like to mention to both of you, but it seemed like a lot of times during the game, and speaking of him, here he is, Eddie, good game.
Hey, GG's. Congrats on the win, Rambler.
As I was saying right as you got into the room, there were a lot of times in the middle game where one of you had, Eddie, I think it was you, had gone to the Thieves Town area and picked up the Harabig, while Rambler had gone up to the mountain and picked up, I believe it was the Thieves Town Big, and then you swapped locations. Things like that happened 2 or 3 times during the game, and it was really interesting to watch kind of the back and forth, wondering which one of these was actually going to play out.
Yeah, hitting keys is like that pretty often. Like, you kind of like swap places until eventually you get bottlenecked. Like in this case, I assume it was Swamp. And then we probably went to Swamp. Oh, I don't know, maybe Rambler dove Swamp earlier than I did.
I did obviously right after I did Pod the first time. So basically all I had to do was either Swamp or go back to Thieves Big or check the 1 chest in Skull Big or go to Turtle or Dark Death Mountain just for Super Bunny Cave. I decided Swamp was a better play there.
Yeah. I had some checks left in Turtle Rock and basically the front of Swamp, and I had nothing else. And I thought about going to Turtle Rock, but I had dipped it earlier and I didn't want to end up triple dipping it, so I just decided to go with Swamp instead.
Yeah, I never dipped Turtle Rock until the very end. It was
But yeah, I think this is one of those races where the finish times is kind of like in order of who went to swamp first, because a lot of stuff was locked behind that fire rod.
Fire rod led directly to Boots, and there is at least one other thing in Ice Palace. Well, Boots opened a Mire, and Mire had Ice Rod, and I forget what else.
Oh, one really bad thing that happened to me is when I was doing the North World checks, I wanted to kern jump over to do Catfish and then Mir to Zora, but I don't know, for some reason I just could not get the kern jump. And I actually ran out of bombs, so I had to give up on that.
I found the flippers pretty much right after I found it. It was right after I found I did the entire Smith chain right to Bomb Tablet, so I found flippers by at that point.
Yeah, I didn't get the flippers for a while.
Did you grab the sword from Ago Tower before doing any of that? Because I think that was an important part for routing the seed, because if you didn't grab that, you might not have gotten the flippers early enough.
Yeah, no, I had that sword pretty early. I think I did escape and the 2 chests in Ago Tower, like before I went to Dark World.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
Yeah, even though Dark World access came straight from escape, I still did I still did Ago Tower, just double check. You had the cape, you had the lamp, you had 1 key, so getting those 2 checks out of the way at the time made sense, and sure enough, the sword there was a good feeling.
Yeah. 80 keys, Keysanity in general, you never want to go to the Dark World too early, because sometimes you can just find things that will make routing the Dark World nicer. You can be more aggressive, like in open mode or whatever, but with 80 keys, you kind of have to be more full cleary.
Yeah. Oh, GG's, that was fun.
Yeah, GG's.
So, any other general thoughts or comments on the seed?
Not really. I was pleasantly surprised that GT was full go mode. I got my Castle Tower key from Hookshot Cave right before I went to GT.
Oh, that was go mode.
Yeah.
I grabbed that before doing Total Rock at all, so the Desert Palace Big was my go mode. Right next to the Desert Palace map, of course.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if no one else has any other comments, I think we can close out here. So, for those who are still with us, thank you guys all for watching. I'd like to thank my co-commentator ManDM for joining me here this evening. I'd also like to thank our tracker, Professor Renderer, clicking all those buttons there, and also the person that set this race up. Stay tuned tomorrow for, if I can check the schedule. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be having an Open Boots Fast Ganon seed.
That sounds like it'll be quite a bit of fun.
Yes, so if you are into that stuff, you should definitely go check it out. Follow all the other Speed Gaming channels, Speed Gaming 2 through 6 and Speed Gaming Prime. We have our foreign language channels as well. You can find us on Twitter, YouTube, and from all of us here at Speed Gaming and from my co-commentator, thank you for watching, and have a great evening.
Thank you for giving us a couple of hours of your time. I hope you enjoyed it. Final thanks to Edium and NY Rambler for putting on a great show. Good night, everybody.